good afternoon to you. My name is Amer Al Fadhil. I run Competence HR, which is a local HR consultancy, as Paul explained. I've been given 20 minutes. I hope to take 10. I also hope to keep you awake. All right. So I'm talking about coaching for performance. Coaching. It's a soft skill. We've spoken about a lot of hard stuff over the day. Let me take this opportunity to talk about something that's considered a soft skill, nevertheless very important and pretty vital to just about any business. Yeah? So what is coaching? Well, I guess you can read faster than I can, so I'm going to leave you with that slide for just a second. So the idea is not to impart know-how. A good coach doesn't necessarily have to be the best at that specific business. Yeah, there's a difference between a subject matter expert and a coach. Coaching is the process of equipping people. The coach orchestrates, as it says, the development of the coachee. So there are several, there's several reasons for coaching. This slide I found, I hope you can read this, was probably one of the more illustrative ones that I thought. So people have natural capabilities, and then there's a bigger canvas that holds their potential, and the idea is to expand your comfort zone, to go from what you're capable of doing today to what the potential is of possibly tomorrow or the day after. Yeah? So this is why coaching comes in place. Okay? I'm talking about coaching in an SME forum. You might think, why? The idea is that this is really a corporate culture, and it needs to be set right at the very beginning. So hopefully the SMEs of today, who are going to be the corporates of tomorrow and the multinationals of the day after, really need to have this at the heart from the very beginning. All right, so I'm going to talk about a few strategies for coaching or a few tools. Again, coaching is such at one point it had become, and it probably continues to become, such an in thing that everyone has a theory on coaching. And you'll find a lot of literature on coaching in the web. These are the strategies or the tools that worked for me, and I have delivered coaching workshops, and they seem to work well. You might find others, but and some of them might just be different names for other strategies. So there are four different strategies circling a bigger underlying concept. So there's forge a partnership, inspire commitments, grow skills, promote persistence, and then of course shape the environment. I'll talk about each of them for a quick minute or so. Okay, so forging a partnership, when at a beginning of a relationship, you need to gain the trust of your coachee, and the coachee needs to gain your trust. So there is a very important step over here of building that relationship. A lot of time resistance can come into play, and that's where what we learned a long time ago in Communications 101, the inquiry and the listening skills come in place. So I want to illustrate something, and I need a volunteer for that. Maybe Ali. I can use Ali. He's a big, sturdy guy. Ali, could you come on? I want to use you for something. And this is a very simple illustration, but I hope it drives the point home. So I'm going to hold up my hand, really nice and strong. And if you can hold up your hand, and I am now pushing against Ali's hand. And guess what Ali is doing? Ali's pushing against my hand. I never actually asked him to push, but because I was pushing, he's pushing back, and he doesn't want to fall, is what he's just said. But I'm pushing, he just naturally pushed back, and that's the idea in communication. If you keep on pushing, people will push back. The idea here is, and this is called the resistance dance. So if I push and Ali lets me push, yeah, and until I'm done pushing, and then Ali can push, and then this is in coaching terms, thank you Ali, shukran, thanks. This is called the resistance dance, so we go back and forth. The idea is that one person pushes, the other listens, and then the other person pushes, and the first listens. That's the resistance dance. But again, listening, inquiring. Yeah, it's a very simple illustration, but I hope, it makes you think you can't have two people pushing each other, you're not going to go anywhere. All right? The other thing is inspired commitment. So the idea behind inspiring commitment is, you get people motivated to do what they want to do. So, it's very difficult to motivate people, but you can tap into their motivating factors. What is it? What are their values? Do they value work-life balance? Do they value a better pay? And trust me, whilst better pay might be motivating to many employees, it is not, I promise you, it is not motivating to everyone. There are other motivating factors to certain other employees. Yeah? So there's a simple tool that is known as the GAPS grid. So that's goals and values, abilities, perceptions, and standards or success factors. So the idea is to align personal objectives with corporate goals. It's not a new thing. It's known since a long time, but this is, just the matrix helps you, or forces you to go into that direction. So for example, if I have, a mother of three working in an organization and she values more than her package, her work-life balance, and if she's able to achieve her targets or exceed them, the reward from the organization can be extra leave rather than extra pay, which might not really motivate her. And that's the whole idea. Yeah. The third strategy is growing the skills, and this is the core of coaching. That's the real objective. This is why we do the whole coaching thing. So growing skills, the reason we grow skills is because we don't want to stay at current proficiency levels. The learning has to continue. And why does the learning continue? Well, for obvious reasons. Yeah, we are amidst technologies, systems, processes today that were completely unknown, 10, 15 years ago. And here there's another acronym which is known as FIRST. So that is, you need to. The idea basically is focus on some priority every day, implement something every day, and then seek feedback and reflect on your actions and learn from them. Inspire commitments, promote persistence is the third one. And this is again for continuous learning. There's a very nice model over here and something that's very, very useful, which again, another acronym, it's called SEED. And that is basically how you give feedback. So, and this is a very common concept, which unfortunately people don't use either very effectively or try to do, but then is completely misconceived. So giving feedback is very important, but it's also an art. Yeah. So SEED is set the scene, explain your point of view, the behavior, the result on the on that person, and then the consequences of the organization, and then explore the person's opinion, and then determine next steps. So, for example, just to give you an example, if me and Paul are negotiating a contract, and Paul all of a sudden gets, let me call him aggressive, his voice becomes loud, his eyes open up, and his body language is facing the table, both hands on the table, and ready to go. If after the meeting I want to give him feedback and I tell him, Paul, you were aggressive, most likely the first thing he'll tell me, I wasn't aggressive. It's resistance. Face that with facts. People won't deny facts. Paul, your voice was on a high pitch. You had both of your hands on the table. Your eyes were open wide, showing that you're ready to go. Yeah? And then the impact of those actions on him. Most likely the client won't go for that negotiated deal. And then the consequences on the organization, which means that you won't be really able to achieve your targets for this year. So that is a better way of giving feedback rather than just jumping the ladder and saying, you are aggressive. Most people will have resistance against that. All right. Shape the environment is the last strategy I want to talk about today. And that is, you need to create a learning culture. Be a role model. Allow the coaching relationship to take place. Set sanction time for it. And allow people to make mistakes. It's extremely important. And that's basically the crux of my presentation. People, these are very, very simple tools. There's nothing, I promise, you guys probably haven't really learned anything completely new today. These tools are available on the net. The whole coaching model, coaching system is possibly nothing new to you. But it is extremely important that we take it, we implement it, we introduce continuous learning right from the beginning, right from the time when we're an individual entrepreneur, moving on to an SME, and then hopefully a bigger corporate. If you set the seed, it continues growing with you. That's all I have for today. Thank you very much.